All right, so it would appear I may be the only one in here at the moment. So I guess we'll be waiting a few minutes. So I'll make this announcement again. Of course. Oh, we have two people in it, according to the Streamyard. According to the Streamyard. So okay, so little heads up for tonight. Hey, Batgoat. Hi, hey, Batgoat. Okay, so at least Batgoat's here with me. Okay, so here's what's going on. Couldn't find really a whole lot of interesting stories to go over. And also, I had kind of a rough start to the day today. So, um, I decided tonight to make this an open forum. So, as you guys may be able to see, I have the link to the StreamYards up. So, anybody who'd like to join me in the studio can. Um, it's kind of an open forum, so we'll just talk about whatever. So, for those of you who have active channels, who are actively doing stuff on your channels, so it's a good chance to promote those. Um, or we can talk about whatever comes to mind, niche wise and whatever. You know, um, so I had my second shingles vax yesterday. I was not feeling good last night. Yeah, so that's why you didn't come in. That Yeah, okay. I just figured maybe it was due more to you being no, maybe it was due more to the your trivia night, but well, hopefully you're doing well, and I do of course appreciate any and all likes, guys. That also helps. Um, Batgoat, the link is up there if you'd like to join me in studio, and that way we can have a little fashion talk. Hey, toys, ATC, you did the three little. I didn't even go to trivia. Okay, yeah. So I don't know if you heard me just say this, toys. I don't know if you've been on or not, or if you just came back on. But I decided to make tonight an open forum night. The link is up there. The StreamYard link is up there if you'd like to join me. Figured it'd be a good opportunity for those like yourself who have active channels. Going to take some time to promote your channels. You can do that. We can also just have a good old, open talk about whatever comes to mind niche wise. Um, uh, yeah, back go. You also kind of yeah. So okay, so we got three people watching. That's good. Um, let's see. I thought, hey guys, live out. The stream didn't go live for me, so I had to refresh. Okay, so that's. Oh no, I look like death. Laugh out loud. Well, hopefully you'll be better tomorrow, bad goat. But but again, yeah, so basically this morning my computer was acting up a bit. Had to call my computer guy and had called him. Had not had to call him in a while to come look at my computer. So I, weren't sure why. My computer got real slow, like real slow, and it's like he couldn't figure it out. So I let him, take it back to his place so he could, look it over. And then as I was trying to figure out what to do with myself since I was without my computer, decided to try to watch some TV and came to find out the cable was out. Basically, I got the message on the screen saying, um, you know, got the message on the screen saying, to watch if you want to upgrade to this channel. Need to call the customer service number. But the only thing was is that um, only thing was is that the channel they said I needed to upgrade is was one of the channels that we normally get anyway. So I called my sister. Eventually, it got fixed, and in other words, there may have been a chance I may not have been able to have a live stream tonight because of all that. But able to, but then when I went through looking for news stories earlier, I saw that we have four people. Hello, fourth person. I should be good tomorrow. Okay, DVDs, baby, physical media. Yeah. Well, I do have DVDs, but you know, what are you watching now? So, how are you guys doing? Let's see. Put the link up again, just in case. I have lots of DVDs to watch if need be. Yeah. Well, the only thing is, I don't really. I have my fair share of like DVDs too. I just don't have, and I just right now don't have a DVD player. That's the only thing. The TV I have doesn't have an automatic DVD player in it, and this newer computer I have doesn't have like my old computer had a DVD player, which is busted anyways. But so excuse me for a quick moment, guys. Just gotta check something real quick. Okay, yeah. That's kind of a must-have. Yeah. Well, I had a DVD, as I said, I had a DVD player before, but with my old computer, but that one, obviously that's all shot now. So, but I do have a bunch of DVDs too. So, um, let's see. Dashing and daring, courageous and caring, faithful and friendly with stories to share. All through the forest they sing out in chorus, marching along as the song fills the air. Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. Find adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. They are the gummy bears. A standalone DVD player is very cheap these days. Yeah, but since I don't usually do a lot of DVD stuff anyways, back out, it's like one of those things that would be that like, you know, just not as familiar with it. So, how's everybody doing tonight? Back good. Hopefully, your day was better today than yesterday. Yeah. So, Hmm. My day's been okay. ATC, you can always come in and join me in the studio. It might be a great opportunity for you to talk about what you're doing on your channel more. Hello. Looks like we have a fourth person watching. Tonight's an open forum night, um, which is I do them once in a while. If I don't have much in the way of news, I open up the studio for anybody who would like to join me to chat. And we're back down to three again, or I could even get around to link it. Hey, chat, why didn't the pirates play cards? Because the captain's standing on the deck. Well, hey, if you got, hey, if you want to come on and be a comedian, you can do that too, toys. Well, I've got four people in here again. Okay, so tonight's an open forum night for anybody who'd like to join me in studio. Ooh, seafaring joke. Anybody who would like to join me in the studio, there's the link, and come in and be part of the conversation. Um, we have four people watching. Um, that was Jeremiah's joke. Hmm. A smart kid. Uh, and back down to three. But at least the counter's being somewhat accurate, it looks like. So that's good. Bravo, I say. Yeah, so right now it looks like just the three of us. Let's see. Hmm. So yeah, so basically, as I said, I was looking through CBR and bounding into comics. It wasn't really anything too new, and of course, the majority of the stories, even in CBR, were more specific storyline stories, and from specifically comics and stuff like that. You guys know I don't cover that much. Um, why did the pirate have a steering wheel hanging from his crotch? Yarg, it drives me nuts. Oh boy. Oh boy. How much better that would sound if you guys were in the studio with me. That would really be that might really be entertaining. You guys are in here cracking jokes like that back and forth. Laugh out loud. Oh yeah. Let's see now. So yeah, now I know back you probably missed. You said you missed yesterday's show. One of the pieces of history I did was yet on yesterday's date 5 years ago in 2016. Blackjack Mulligan had passed away of the Blackjack tag team. Be in 20 in 20. Got to change my headset. Okay. That's fine. Hmm. Okay, I'll go hand up the stash and put a hat on and stand by. Okay. Uh, yeah, so yeah, I'll even put the StreamYard link up again just so you guys have it right there, easily accessible when you do. Well, there's a link again for anybody who, of course, likes to join me. Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. That not the okay. I must have been okay. I must have, that's right because I had to. Okay, well, okay. I'll fix that then. Back. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. All right. Try it now. Oh, I remember what happened. It was because earlier when I was trying to share the stream on Discord and for Discord for like when I was sharing the link for like Facebook and Discord and there we go. Oh, Woody's here too. Hey, Woody.
Hey guys, how
What?
are things? Bat goes.
Hey, Woody, good to see you.
I'm still alive.
All right, yeah,
Mike
that's good.
casting his own oaks. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I know what happened there, Backo. What basically happened was that earlier when I initially tried to share, Parlor for whatever reason wasn't working at the time, so I went back and had to reshare it later, and I just didn't realize that I'd forgotten to change the link over again. So back to the
That'll
StreamYard
happen.
link for, huh?
I guess that'll happen. I don't know. I've never streamed before, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I learned a lot of this stuff too. So now the count is going screwy again, saying well now we're back up to 3 people. So
Woody, you
uh,
see what Toys just wrote there?
Oh no, I can barely read. Jeremiah heard the stream. Oh yeah, we got. Hi Jeremiah.
He came running in. Hey, Jeremiah.
It's
I
Jabba
was
the
gonna
Hutt
band up the
here.
stash, but I'm like,
Solo.
all right. Yeah, ATC, if you and Jeremiah would like to join us as well, I'm going to put the StreamYard link, not the YouTube link like I had been doing.
he said he's charging up his headset, so
Oh, okay. Yeah.
so
I
it'll
have my
probably be a few minutes.
sudden comfort here. So give me my sudden comfort.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't have any booze, so I've got Powerade.
Yeah, actually, now I heard why that goes, and I don't know. You weren't here last night either, were you, Woody?
What? No, I've missed a couple of nights here. So
Yeah, actually, you
I
missed it.
actually I tune in and lurk for brief periods of time, but I just
Yeah,
Oh.
Woody, that was funny the other night. So that would have been Tuesday night when I just typed in couch, and then I heard at the end of the show, I just heard the show ending. So I like the circadian rhythm. I just jumped up and I'm like, okay, I got to get to the computer to say goodbye. And I saw right as he was ending the stream, you wrote, what you wrote from that was you, wasn't it? You said, Speaking from Bat Goat's couch, I'll say goodbye for him.
Yes, I did
Oh
do
yeah,
that.
That was
Buddy, yes,
great.
that was Buddy.
That was hilarious. I appreciated that. It was so true.
Yeah, actually, one last night, one of the history notes I brought up was from 5 years ago. On yesterday's date, 5 years ago, Blackjack Mulligan had passed away.
Oh God!
So on April 7th, 2016,
way back.
You remember who Blackjack Mulligan was, right?
Oh yeah, he was wrestling with Vern Gagne's AWA back when I was a 10-year-old watching the local TV promotion. That's when I really got hooked on the sport. I just loved it.
He was
wrestle with my brother.
Yeah, he was a WWF Hall of Famer, one half of the Blackjacks, Blackjack Lanza. They were the former WWF World Tag Team Champions, as well as being a former World
Wrestling. That mean black hat cowboy and a good mustache. And
Vern Gagne was a Minnesota boy.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah, that whole thing was a Minnesota promotion for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, years ago.
Nick Bockwinkel. Even
ago,
Flair was wrestling up there for wrestling. Flair's from Minnesota originally.
Who?
I think Ric Flair.
Yeah, okay. Ric Flair not only was originally from Minnesota, but he was actually trained by Vern Gagne.
Greatest of them all, really.
Vern Gagne years ago was in one of the nursing homes in, I think, Bloomington, and as a paramedic, we know the story. It's our service area. It was actually on the news. He was in the memory care unit, so towards the end of his life, he didn't quite know what was going on, and he got in a fight with one of the other residents, knocked him down, and that guy died.
Yeah, I think one of the things I'd heard, because I'd read a little bit about that story too. I think he was suffering from Alzheimer's at the time, and I think what ended up happening was he ended up putting the sleeper hold on him and knocking him out.
From what I understand, being a paramedic, what I heard was that it was a typical nursing home fight. Like they grab wheelchairs and shake and just like they tend to hit each other all the time, but like nothing usually happens. But he hit this guy so hard that the dude fell down and hit his head. And that's basically what happened. And it was completely accidental. I mean, it's so sad, but there's really not much you can do about it.
Yeah. I mean, I did read about that. I did hear about that a little bit, when that happened. So
who else? Ole Anderson, Arn Anderson, all those guys, they're Minnesota.
Well, actually, okay. Arn and Ole are not actually related. They're not even related.
Some of them were, but they look close enough. That's probably why they did it.
Okay. Gene Anderson was the only one true Anderson. Okay. In the late 60s, he was teaming with Lars Anderson, whose real name was Larry
Luscious Lars Anderson. He was he was on that promo I used to watch. All Star Wrestling.
And then I think in the 70s, that's when Ole came in. His real name is Dan Rodowski. And then Arn, his real name is Marty
Arn is the one that I used to see. Yeah.
Arn Anderson, he was okay. He was actually raised in Rome, Georgia. He was actually trained by Ted Allen, I believe, for wrestling. And the reason they had him become an Anderson because he and Ole looked alike. And initially they weren't sure what exactly to call him. They early on they were calling him his younger brother, his cousin, they were throwing all kinds. Eventually, they just settled on brother.
Yeah, those were good times. I tell you, that was a great show. I just loved it.
All-Star Wrestling.
Kowalski used to go everywhere and talk about how he'd pick the local landmark and say he was going to go there with a keg of beer. And so for us, it was Pikes Peak. It was like, I'm going to take a keg of beer on my back every day. I hike all the way to the top, and then I drink the keg.
Yeah. Actually, there were a couple of guys who went by the name Killer Kowalski.
Well, Crusher, he just was the Crusher. I believe I read later that he was the one that was named Kowalski.
That one I think was Stanley
Crusher
Kowalski, and then Waldeck Kowalski is actually considered the more famous one. Waldeck Kowalski was the Killer Kowalski who was in the WWF. He's the guy. Waldeck Killer Kowalski was the guy who trained Triple H, Chyna, and Perry Saturn.
So we also had Larry Pretty Boy Hennig and Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan.
Gorgeous,
I know that name. Bobby Heenan and man, and Larry Hennig. Kurt Hennig's dad. They were constantly a tag team. So we used to see. Bobby Heenan wrestle. I never knew that. I went to a couple of the shows. I got my dad to bring me down to one, and then. No, he'd leave me there. Back then, a dad would leave a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old at a show.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I never heard that Larry Hennig and Bobby Eaton really regularly tagged. I do know that Larry Hennig and Harley Race were a dominant tag team in the 60s. There, they had some legendary feuds with Dick the Bruiser and Crusher over the AWA World Tag.
Bruiser and Crusher, yeah, that they were constant. They were tag team in and out of our areas too. Yeah.
Now, from what I understand, Dick the Bruiser and Crusher, they actually were cousins. They actually legitimately were cousins. So,
and my favorites actually were the Vachons, Mad Dog and Butcher Vachon. Really, they were total heels from Montreal. They were so mean. Mad Dog was, Butcher just kind of stood there and let his brother do the work. But,
Mad Dog would become a major star. Both not just as a tag star with his brother, but later on a single star as well. I think he even held the AWA World Tag. And here's the thing about the American Wrestling Association. Yeah, the AWA was initially an NWA affiliate. They were like NWA Minnesota affiliate, and then due to a schism between NWA and Vern Gagne, they decided to disaffiliate themselves with and became that happened around 1960.
Those were fun times. Yeah. Vern would tag sometimes with Nick Bockwinkel and bring Bockwinkel in. He was a great wrestler, really. He was a guy you loved because he was so arrogant. I hated him.
That was late in both their careers. That was
and I love all the heels.
Yeah. That was late in both their careers because that would have probably been more like the mid to late 80s. By that point, Nick had become a face as well as Vern, after
he did play a good baby face too. Well, I guess he must have been a young man when I seen him. It's probably early 70s, late 60s to early 75 was when I went
I'll put it this way.
So no more wrestling shows.
I'll put it this way.
Off the scene from 75 to about 88.
During Nick Bockwinkel's last AWA World Championship reign back there in the mid 80s, okay, during that fifth and final AWA
to me,
World
that's a big blackout because I didn't really follow any wrestling between like 75 and 90. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
so, you can fill me in.
He was like, I think during his last reign, he was like already in his early 50s.
Yeah,
during his last reign. Okay. A lot of people actually blame the fact that Vern Gagne didn't really want to change with the times as to why the AWA, eventually went demise. I mean, look at some of the guys who spent time there.
Vince McMahon rated all of Vern's talent.
Well, that was a big part of it too, but part of it too was that Vern was still trying to go old school well into like almost up until the very end. Okay. Up until 90. Okay. They still, as of like 88, 89, 90, they still were enforcing the top rope roll. In other words, you couldn't do moves off the top rope. whereas almost all other wrestling
That's
promotions were
outlawed
allowing
in
it.
some states.
Huh?
Yeah. What? He's not going to the top rope, is he? Yeah. Oh man.
I
Well,
don't
yeah.
ever remember that. That was a big thing, huh? The top rope. They couldn't go to the
Oh,
top
and
rope.
and the full pile driver. That was outlawed in some states.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Back in the
that's what the announcer
territory
would
days.
say. You never know what's true.
Well, back in the territory, there were certain territories, certain states like Tennessee, where they had banned the pile driver. Now, the pile driver, of course, is a move. You have the guy in the pike position. You stick his head between your knees. You bring him up like this, and then now the classic, what is it called, the classic pile driver or the Texas pile driver. You just simply sit down and you just allow gravity to take control. Now, Paul Orndorff had done something with it. He was one of the first guys to make a change to it that I saw, where he would actually jump up and bring you down. And then there were a few other variations that came out over the years. I know Kevin, the guy known as Kevin Steen now, Kevin Owens. He did what they called a pulling pile driver, where he would just pull you by the back of your trunk up into the position to pile
And
driver.
of course, the guy having the pile driver done to him does a big old jump to make the whole thing look better. They're both. He's doing more work in the stunt than the guy doing the pile driver. The pile drivey.
And then of course
like the full body slam. The one who's doing the real work is the one holding all his body weight up with his arms on the other guy's shoulders.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
true.
Well, let's see. The reverse, before Undertaker popularized his tombstone variation, the initial reverse pile driver, they take the guy from a scoop position. Now Morocco did this. Don Morocco did this quite a bit, and there are a few other guys, and I believe Billy Robinson was another one who did this version. But you go from like the suplex hold and go to the crotch hold, and then lift the guy up on your shoulder, and then come down. That's called a reverse. The technical name for that is a reverse pile driver. Now, what the Undertaker did, of course, is after he would get the guy up on his shoulder, he would then kind of slide him down and then put his hands like this and over the guy's back, and then just simply kneel down, and then you'd have the rest in peace pin combination there. That was a tombstone pile driver. And then the spike pile driver is a double team version of pile driver, where the guy has the guy set up, and then the other guy goes up to the second rope, just puts his hand on the opponent's feet, and as the one guy sits back, the other guy kind of pushes down to add more momentum.
So I used to see Undertaker. Mark Calloway was one of the wrestlers when I picked up again. I told you I kind of missed. I went away to college in '75, and I didn't really watch any wrestling until about like '89 when I lived in North Carolina, and I ran into this guy that also liked old wrestling. And that was right when all the Greensboro shows and stuff couldn't sell out anymore. All of a sudden, the arenas were only selling out 5 or 8 rows. And, we knew it was all dying. We just decided we were going to see all the shows we could. And they came through Raleigh every month. And they also came through Greensboro every month. So you could see like 2 live shows.
Raleigh and Greensboro were 2 of Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, and later, of course, WCW's regular spots, There were a number of legendary matches between Wahoo and Flair, and Wahoo and Greg Valentine.
So,
and I bet Backo is marveling at what we're talking about here with wrestling. He's just sitting back listening to you and I talk here.
Well, wrestling is one of your legit topics, and it hasn't really gotten much attention here. So, I just want to brag a little because, I used to get front row seats to those things all the time because they held back the front row seats till noon the day of the show for some reason. And I had work where I could get off at lunch and drive like 20 miles down the road and just go buy front row seats every month.
So when was this? You're saying in 90?
This was like from 1988 to 1995 in Raleigh-Dorton. I could get front row seats for like every show there. I was watching WCW. I transferred to NWA. I saw Cactus Jack's first TV taping with NWA. Mark
cool.
Callis was there wrestling just as me, Mark Calloway, before he got picked up by Vince and turned into the Undertaker. I saw stunning Steve Austin. I was oohing and ahhing at his beautiful wife, and he told me to shut the fuck up personally.
Well, yeah, I mean,
he had long blonde hair.
Both Austin and
all the
Undertaker.
steroids took his hair, I guess. Huh? I've had Steve Austin tell me, yeah, right.
That's funny.
Were
you like, okay,
and it's from the front row. I tell you, that stuff looks really real. You know, those stunts, they may be stunts, but they're real.
they do a lot of damage to their bodies. I mean, I know they're not. It's all choreographed, but they're slamming around that springboard ring. I mean, they just. I mean,
well, and
a lot of damage to a body.
Okay, back up. That's also another misconception that ring is a springboard. I've actually been up into the ring before. That's no springboard. That's canvas, and did Woody get a package? ATC's asking you here. Did
I got that. Yeah, thank you, Toys. I do. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's got. I've still left it in its box too. Here, it's got the. I don't know if the camera does it justice here. Yeah.
What is that? Is that Cobra Commander?
It's a Cobra Commander. I'm going to take him out of the box. I don't save toys. Is that allowed?
Oh.
You can leave it in. I don't know. I saw Toy Story 2. I don't
Toys,
remember.
is this supposed to stay in the box? Because I left my. I got what? Frieza? What did you send me?
Frieza was cool.
That's Dragon Ball Z, which I know nothing about.
Yeah. Actually, even from what I understand, if you as a collector, you're usually supposed to leave the stuff in the box if you're collecting it. Because if
Toys,
you open Toys would probably know more.
Yeah,
on
Toys.
that.
Should I leave Frieza in the box?
Someone was talking about creeple people or creepy crawlers. I had all that shit.
Creeple people. That was so cool. You know what else was cool from the early 90s? Army ants. The plastic army ants, they were like red and green or yellow or something. And
then ATC saying, have fun, guys.
Thank you, ATC. This is well articulated. I don't see these modern toys. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Cobra Commander in the 1980s cartoon was voiced by the late Christopher Collins, Chris Latta, who also voiced Starscream in the Transformers cartoon as well. And I think earlier on they were saying that he was supposed to be also the voice of Mr. Burns in Simpsons, I think.
Oh wow.
Excellent. Before it passed on in 1994, so
he didn't Toys didn't say anything about the it says open it if you want.
Yeah. I do.
Now again, Toys might know this a bit more than
I'm a terrible collector. I've tried collecting things.
But from what I understand with most collectible stuff like that, if you do open the box, and Toys can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but if you do open the box, you do depreciate the value of it.
That's why old Stinky Pete never was out. He had to sneak out. That Toy Stories, those first two Toy Story movies really did have fun plots to them.
Mm-hmm. It's about Toys said it's about the fun, so.
Yeah. No, he needs to be out. I got enough stuff in boxes. So, yeah. He's looking good. He's standing by.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because both Mark Calloway, aka The Undertaker, and Steve Austin, they actually got their start down in Tennessee and Texas. Mark Calloway, I think, he got his start in They both got their start in the USWA in Jerry Lawler's territory.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course, at
I
that
never saw
time,
any of that, but he, they called him the rope walker, and he did. He used to climb on the turnbuckle and then sometimes take a step or two out on the top rope before he'd do a move in onto the
the
opponent
move that would become
some kind
old
of
school.
dive.
He actually picked that up from Don Hardin, the spoiler. Don Hardin, the spoiler, was the one who used to do that quite a bit as well. I buy 3 of everything, 1 to play, with 1 to display, and 1 for just in case. Laugh out loud. Okay.
I shook Lawler's hand once.
Huh?
So I did get to shake Jerry Lawler's hand once about 10 years ago. He came through. He was announcing for Vince then, and they were doing a charity show in town, a local promotion. Because one of the wrestlers had actually died in the ring while they were waiting for the opponents. One of them just friggin' dropped, and they flew him off to the hospital. And
Owen Hart.
Well, I mean, this was just
did
one
that
of our
happen back in
local guys.
99? Did that?
No, this was just our local house show.
Oh,
so just flopped over. Anyway, so they had a benefit for them the following couple of months later. Lawler came out to help plug it and bring in money. So, and I had a front row on the entry aisle seat, because I always, these house shows, just buy your ticket first, you can get the greatest ticket. So I thanked them for coming. I was, thank you for coming, King. What a good guy.
Oh, wait. Okay, you were saying, was it one of the WWF wrestlers who passed away that you were talking about?
No, I'm just talking about a local house show. There's down south here, there's local promotions where they just have a gym and they train a few young guys and they put on a show, and they bring in a couple of, they bring in Bobby Eaton, 65-year-old Bobby Eaton, to do a match. And, when Lawler was here, they had our star train up and do all kinds of spots for him. Got to get beat up by Lawler. But I mean, that was a big name. But there's a couple of old washed up wrestling real stars and take our young guys. So they're just young guys, unknown. No one knows who they are. So yeah, the guy that keeled over in the gym was just some local kid that trained it up, and he just happened to have a heart attack while he was in the ring waiting for the other team.
But anyway, let's give Batko a moment here, because I think he's been trying to show us what he's got.
Are you gonna take Frieza out for a sniff?
I already did.
He's out. Yeah, epic, man, that's pretty cool.
Epic moment.
Yeah, he's in this plastic. Good. There we go.
Yeah.
I broke him. Unless he's supposed to come apart like this.
Yeah. Right.
Is he supposed to break like this in first form?
He broke? No, that's just his articulated arm. Pop it back in.
So what are all these hands for?
Well, you have like a fist hand and a pointing hand and a peace sign.
You got a pointing hand?
As ATC reminded me the other night, we got to give him a chance to respond because there's a bit of a lag.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I talked over you. What, Mike?
As ATC reminded me the other night, we have to give him a moment to respond because the stream lags a little bit.
Okay.
So he may not.
But for us three, it doesn't. It's pretty tight.
I noticed that, but like I'm on StreamYard, so I'm on the StreamYard page, and I have YouTube muted.
Mm-hmm.
Ow. Son of a.
Yeah. Anyway, but I could go on and on, man.
I broke him again.
A lot of great shows. I saw,
hold on a sec, Woody.
Bladen, you didn't see that.
Hold on a sec.
Junkyard dog.
Extra hands for poses.
Yeah.
But I can't I can't get the pointer one on. It doesn't want to clip.
Yeah.
The fist will be all right. Wait.
Yeah. Hey, Woody, I know you just mentioned the junkyard dog.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I probably mentioned this before.
He's
But
getting kind of
I don't
old
know
when
if
I
you
saw
knew
him.
this. He was actually going up against Jake Roberts. They were involved in the first ever ladder match, long before Razor and Sean. Okay, they actually did a ladder match in Stampede Wrestling back in 1978, and it was between, at the time he was going by the name Big Daddy Ritter, but it was the Junkyard Dog and Jake Roberts over the Stampede North American Heavyweight title. So, a little bit of history for you there. Oh, and a heads up, I got through February 1976 of watching, so I'll probably this weekend be doing another Square Circle Calendar episode for February 1976. So you'll have something to look forward to check out there. Yeah.
Okay, these are actually left and right hand specific. So there it is.
No wonder it didn't work. I'll have to watch for that.
He's got his claw, and here's his fist.
That's a pretty mean little thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It is cool. I like this helmet. Again, I don't know what it is, but he's still pretty rad.
Back, you may want to take a look at this.
Frieza should pop apart. Okay.
Cobra Commander. You don't get to see what he looks like.
The helmet doesn't come off?
Well, I think the theory. I think the theory is Cobra Commander's face actually looks.
He's
reptilian.
a robot. A reptilian?
Yeah, basically, his face is like basically if you do take off his mask and stuff, it's like he's got a snake's face, basically.
Like that show V from the 80s. Remember the reptiles from V? Oh, you can't see him on camera.
They want to keep you guessing. Use your imagination. Talk about lizard people. Yeah. Cool. We're like the Gorn. That was classic Star Trek. Captain Kirk and that Gorn guy. Taking gunpowder or whatever he was doing.
Yeah. Again, since I haven't been watching a lot of the more modern wrestling, that's why I don't really talk as much about it.
Once Vince bought the NWA, it was like, well, I'll watch.
Well, WCW, not NWA. WCW, not NWA.
Whoever
that, they were. Yeah, that goes right into the toy. That's awesome.
It's the same group coming through town, But yeah, NWA.
Well,
they were calling themselves NWA in '88 and '89, and sometime around '90, I guess they changed their.
Okay,
whatever.
So here's basically what happened with that. Okay, so yes, Jim Crockett Promotions eventually sold to Ted Turner and became WCW, but they still maintained their NWA affiliate officially until like '93. They actually started kind of going away from it in '91. I think one of the first signs you could see that maybe, WCW might have started to kind of go away from the NWA was when Flair left.
He picked his nose so rough that his arm came off.
Yeah. So when Ric Flair left WCW in '91 to go to the WWE, after having the big fallout with Jim
later than '91. That was a few years after that.
No, he left WCW multiple times, but
okay, you went back and forth more than one year. Okay.
yeah. But one of his first times was in '91. In fact, it led to a changing of the it led to the changing of a main event. I think it was at Great American Bash. I don't know if you remember when Luger and Wyndham wrestled for the WCW World Title during, I think it was Great American Bash. That was due to the fact that Flair had left. And one of the other things that caused a lot of controversy in that is that Flair, since he still held on to the actual physical NWA belt.
Oh yeah.
He was displaying it, and the NWA kind of started filing suit against him and WWE. Hey, look, that's our belt. You guys can't be showing it or saying that that's NWA property on your TV.
Getting hold of the physical belt is a big deal when you change champions over and stuff.
Well, you know how the NWA protected that though, protected their property right to that. If you and I'll get to the comments in a moment, but if they had booked you to become the world heavyweight champion in the NWA, you had to put down a $25,000 deposit, $25,000 security deposit.
Against the
they
belt.
did that to make sure that they could get the belt back, and because in other words, it's kind of one of the things that kind of it's also one of the things that led to the WWF being founded in the first place, because back in I think it was in the early 60s there, they had put the title on Buddy Rogers, who was, of course, who was out of the at the time the Capital Wrestling Corporation.
Is that a Miller Tallboy?
Huh?
Woody, is that a Miller Tallboy?
That's it. And the Miller Tallboys are fat too, because they're 32 ounces, not 24.
Oh, damn! That's a beer. That's a beer. All right.
That'll, that's right. You got to go straight to your crankcase.
So, anyways, as Buddy Rogers was out of the Northeast and and he was a property of Vince McMahon Sr. and Toots Mont, they didn't want to let him out of the Northeast a whole lot, which NWA had an issue with. So, they eventually took the title off of him, which, in Toronto. In fact, back then, all world title matches were best 2 out of 3 falls. So in Toronto, I think sometime in '63, they had Buddy Rogers drop the title because Buddy didn't want to give up the $25,000. Even though the WWF wanted, Vince Sr. and Toots Mont wanted him to hold on to the title, he didn't want to lose that $25,000. So he
you want
agreed
to set up a big crowd night in Cleveland by having someone have the title and the local favorite take it away that night. And so you gotta convince somebody to do that.
Yeah. So what they would do to make sure that they could get the title back or move it around as they wanted to, if you were booked to win the world title, you had to put down a $25,000 deposit. Security deposit, to ensure that when it came time to let the next guy, or in many cases, as in the case with Lou Thesz, if you wanted to put the title back on Thesz, when you drop the title to the person they want you to drop it to, then you get your $25,000 back.
50. 50. Yeah, 25. That's a lot of dough. Yeah.
So
it's a lot of dough if you want to be champion. So one time I was at Greensboro with my friend Byron, and the first match came out and was a couple of nobodies, and there was like 5 rows of people, 2 or a couple hundred people, not a big crowd like it used to be. And first match, and it's like, the crowd's dead. There's a little bit of this, and so then for the second match, and this was just when Cactus Jack had just started out with the he had just done his first TV taping, which we had seen recently, but he came walking out for the match, to this dead house, and he looked around and he spit a big green hawker about 20 feet in the air, and he caught it in his mouth, and the whole arena erupted in cheers.
Yeah.
That's so gross.
And the whole rest of the night, the crowd was loosened up. He went out to the ring, and the other guy came out, and they had a good match. And the rest of the night,
highly gross, but very
people were awake after this really dead first match. And I mean, that guy, you could tell he was going to be a pro. Actually, when we saw the TV taping in Raleigh, he was standing outside the corner post, and they did a spot where the other guy came up and whacked him on the head, and he threw himself backward in the air and just landed on the concrete, just threw himself backward out from the friggin'
Mick Foley?
Outside the ring, landed on his back. And and my friend Byron turned to me and he said, if this guy lives, he's going to be a huge star.
Are you talking about Cactus Jack? Are you talking about Mick Foley, Cactus Jack?
What?
Are you talking about Cactus Jack, Mick Foley?
Cactus Jack, yeah. I was there at his first TV taping, or one of his first 2 TV tapings they did in Raleigh. They don't usually do them in Raleigh, but once in a while they do one. And and that was one of Cactus Jack's. So I've been able to see a lot of these really good people when they were earlier in their careers. It was really lucky. And we knew we were doing that too. We had met on the internet at back then there was like Pro Wrestling on the Usenet. And that's where I kind of noticed there was another guy near me who was also interested in the out.pro.wrestling on the Usenet. That's back when the internet was very young. It wasn't really
Usenet
wasn't really
cool.
A web. Yeah,
Usenet was cool. Usenet was good for like file sharing and stuff. I mean, you could get porno that way too.
Because we learned we worked real close together, and we realized we were both old pro wrestling fans. And we just resolved that we were just going to go to all the shows we could before the NWA WCW died, because it was obviously about to die. And we just thought, we'll never get another chance to see a bunch of wrestlers.
They had a resurgence in the mid '90s. There, they were actually beating but they were saying that
they were getting 5 rows of people in the house shows, though. I mean,
but they were still making some money at the pay-per-view.
What was going on TV?
Woody, hold that thought for a moment.
That was all Vin. I mean, that wasn't our guys. So, but
does anyone collect the Masters of the WWE Universe?
I personally do not.
Yeah, I don't really collect anything other than knowledge. Laugh Out Loud surprised no one's drinking Old English.
Yo, ain't you got no old
liquor? So it's a little stronger.
Laugh Out Loud. Everyone knows Dude Love has the best character. So, yeah. No, I mean, I remember watching Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, and WCW on their TV programmings, and he some of the stuff he did was just amazing. Like, I think one of the things I liked, one of the things that was amazing was how he'd run off the apron and somersault on a guy. That was pretty cool. Now he was doing a lot. He was doing a lot of this stuff.
He knew what people liked, and he could give great interviews. I mean, he was really a star.
Well, remember, even before I don't know if you ever saw the video of this, one of his own home videos, but he was inspired by Jimmy Superfly Snuka's, I think it was 1982 or 83, where he did what became known as the Superfly leap off the cage onto Don Morocco. That's what inspired him. And so he decided to prepare for a career in pro wrestling. He was going to go up to a roof and do that same thing. But he became a hardcore icon because he did a lot of that stuff over in Japan too. He went over to Japan and worked for organizations like Big Japan Pro Wrestling and Frontier Martial Arts, where they were more like hardcore style. He had to tone it down, of course, when he was in WCW for standards and practices and all that. But Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There was anyway. Those were good old days. There was one time, and there was this other guy on there that was on the pro wrestling internet, whatever social group, that was announcing for this other, like just local small promotion somewhere out in the sticks in North Carolina. We went out to one of those local promoted shows, and the Hardy brothers were like 17, 18 years old doing as part of that show.
yeah.
You know,
Actually,
know who was who, but we
what's kind of
actually
funny
saw
too
them
is
when they were just a couple of local boys jumping around the
yeah.
ring.
Yeah, the Hardy Boys actually started up before they got signed with the WWE. They had actually started up their own independent wrestling promotion in Cameron, where they're from, along with their friend Shannon Moore.
They were somewhere out in North Carolina.
Yeah, it's Cameron, North Carolina.
Yeah, that's we drove out to one of their shows.
Yeah, Omega Pro, I think, is what their organization.
Okay, yeah, okay, you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, man. So that was one thing we did, but it was it was a long drive, so we mostly just did our local shows. But yeah, I got a chance to see that. Too.
As I understand, based on what you're telling me, you probably were watching a lot of shows in the early '90s there. And from what I had heard, wrestling as a whole was kind of starting to go down here. They, as a whole, I mean, it wasn't just WW. It was a lot of promotions that were. Yes, Leto. Hey, Leto. We're having hey, Mike, Bat Goat, Woody, Toys. How are y'all?
All right, we're hello, Leto.
Leto, we're doing an open forum tonight. I know you'll probably be driving, but if you would like to join us in the stream, here is the StreamYard link as soon as I can get my cursor down to the appropriate area.
I don't know that he can do his VTuber through. And Solid shows up. I would imagine Anon's going to drop it any minute, too.
Yeah. But tonight's an open forum night. If you guys want to join us in the studio, you're more than welcome to. So
Solid. Thanks, Solid's a shy dude as well. He probably won't come on.
Yeah, I can. I'll be driving. Yeah. I just put it out there just in case, couldn't find a whole lot of stories and had kind of a difficult morning this morning. So,
Solid. That's Frisia First Form saying what's
First Form? Those guys pretty good.
Well, Woody, for me, I of course started watching pro wrestling in the late '80s, early '90s. There, one of the things that got me starting to look at NWA and stuff, because here in California we got a lot of WWF stuff at the time. Okay, so now I would sometimes because sometimes on some of our syndicated some of the independent stations out here they'd get syndicated versions of worldwide and main event and pro the NWA stuff. And one of the things that kind of got me even more paying attention to them is so one time I remember seeing Arn Anderson in the WWF when they'd gone to the WWF as the Brainbusters, right? And then I don't know, a few months later, I see him on the NWA TV. Yeah.
Hey, real quick. Woody, when did you get your Cobra Commander?
Oh, gosh.
Was it last week?
Yeah. Yeah.
I got mine last week, too. It was Wednesday of last week?
It was about like that, yeah.
Okay, so that's what Leto's asking. That we both got ours. We both got our toys.
I just
the same day.
Okay. We're checking it out for green growths.
All right, so
the deadly Canadian virus.
Yeah. ADC just said, "Laugh out loud." I just coughed on you, Leto. I think I just gave you the coof. You better stay home and rest for the rest of the week.
That is the Canadian coof.
Should be okay, and then Solid saying he should be streaming tomorrow. Those figures both come on the same day. That's cool. That's what you guys are just. I'll hopefully be there solid. Oh, awesome. Okay, so yeah, I mean, and as I got into the end of course, it made me realize that these wrestlers, like, okay, so back then with kayfabe, they'd always try to make it seem like they just all of a sudden appeared out of nowhere, and all of a sudden were great wrestlers. But when I saw Arn, go on two different programs, within a matter of months, I realized, hey, wait a minute, these guys kind of travel around. And of course, that got me into looking into the history of wrestling. And it was even more so in the 70s, where guys you might have somebody, you didn't have a whole lot of people who stayed in one territory for too long. Like Ernie Ladd traveled around a lot. Bubba Brazil traveled around a lot. A lot of these guys would travel around a lot.
Well, there wasn't mass media, so you could be a fresh face in a different market. They needed fresh.
Well, because they didn't have the internet back then. It's not like you could.
It was better back then, like that. It was better like that. It's better as a live show. I tell you, it really is a different thing. Being at the live show and real crowd heat, real people, really cheering and really booing, and it's different than TV. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, wish you could, Toys. How about I could call your work for you little.
Does anyone want to see the preview of my new headphones for tomorrow night? So,
if you want,
you guys, you know my microphone, right?
Like the Tater Mike 3000.
The Tater Mike 3000, right? You know what that is, right?
Canadian Cougs is so polite.
I thought
headphones with antennas sticking out.
That's what I thought. So I ordered a pair of really cheap headphones on eBay, and they looked old, and I got them, and they're brand new. It's some company that's making these really cheap, crappy, supposed to look old, but I mean, it's even got the tag on it right here. It's like a brand new thing, and it cost $11. So it's really bad. But these are my new crap headphones.
And of course, Batgo, remember too.
It's called school style.
Tomorrow, I'll send you the StreamYard link. Hopefully, you can come in early so we can prep.
I'll do that, Mike. No problem. Yeah, definitely need to prep because I'll have the Google Pics, so we'll have to figure out what it looks like when you share screen, or when I share the screen.
I am not a cat.
But yeah, they're really crappy. They're like mono. I already tested the sound. I need one of these, a converter, so it actually plugs into the computer. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm gonna last. I ordered another pair, but they haven't come yet. And I'm hoping they're actually really old ones because they were more expensive and they look kind of comfortable. We'll see.
Hey, Woody, you have a comment here from somebody.
Yes, I saw a nice drink. Cheers. Here's to Leto. We'll do another one. We'll chase it. We'll chase it with just my sip of my
full style. Beef
Damn
style.
it, Woody! Making me want to have a drink. I've got no booze here. Oh, you bastard. I want that drink. You know what I'll do? I'll make a coffee drink and steal some of my roommate's Kahlua. It's only 2 shots to make a coffee drink.
Let us say, all right, guys. Hate to say it, but I gotta start driving. Okay, well, be careful. Drive safe, Leto.
Drive safe, Leto.
Yeah, Yeah. I know you weren't here when I initially talked, but I decided to make it an open forum night tonight, Woody, because a couple of things. One, I couldn't really find any like stories. Most of the stories I saw were just like story, like basically talking more about.
You do 5 shows a week, There's not that much breaking news, so yeah, I can see it.
I mean,
break it up a little some way, rather.
Yeah,
true.
But also I had kind of a tough start to it because my computer kind of was going wonky earlier this morning, and came to find out that it was our cable that was actually wonky because like my computer got real slow. Even called my computer tech guy to come over to check it, and then discovered later after I tried to start watching TV while he had my computer that it was our cable, not that was causing the problem. So
your sound is okay, but looks like the video's chopping a little bit. Your picture's freezing, but I can hear your sound.
Okay.
I could pay
Hey,
a
look.
whole bunch to get some cable out here, but I get pretty good. There's a Verizon tower like within sight of my front porch here, and so I get pretty good service out of Verizon network.
You're
There's an
hotspotting it off
unlimited
your
thing
phone, right?
drops down, so you only get the slop hours
Oh,
after a while. But I'm so close to the
are you
antenna.
asking me if I'm
Slop,
hotspotting?
slop
No,
hours.
is that what you're doing? Are you hotspotting off your phone then?
Yeah. Well, right now I'm
Okay,
into my
yeah.
phone directly, but when I use the
Okay,
computer, I hotspot
yeah,
my phone everywhere, and that's all my internet, and I just kind of
yeah.
watch
Excuse
stuff.
me
It'll
for a moment, Joy.
Instead of paying $1 million to get the
save a
cable
lot
run
of
out
money.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. My son's doing that. I think out in he lives not in the city of Ramsey, but like he's actually got a township number. It's like
And
just
most
outside there.
junk I
So
watch on the internet looks just as good at 360 as it does 2480.
totally.
All right, I'll be right
I don't
back,
need
guys.
high def.
I got to step away from the computer for a couple
Okay,
minutes.
Mike, no
I'll be right
problem.
back.
Yeah, Woody, I'm the same way. I'm watching documentaries all day. I don't need high def. And watching streams, I don't need high def for that either. Like, I don't care.
So it's nice, and I can do this wherever I go. I always have my net with me. I feel like my friend's putting together a local place that's going to have live music finally again. So
Really?
that'll be nice, and that'll be an excuse for me to brush up. I make up corny songs and play old corny songs with a guitar and sing them. I used to be able to do like 8 or 12 Tom Lehrer songs.
Really?
I can whip them back into shape pretty quick.
You were talking about this before, that you started out your channel with doing some music videos or doing some music stuff, right?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Put some stuff out there. I have a song about the Higgs boson.
The what? A song about the what?
The Higgs boson particle. Anyway,
sounds familiar, but
the scientists were using that big at the CERN super accelerator. They were looking for this special particle,
circular thing?
particle that defines how gravity is created somehow. And they
the
were
big one in France, or the one that they were building here?
And I made a big style science-y song about what the Higgs boson particle is and how they're.
Okay.
I could probably do it from memory right now if I get drunk enough.
That was a couple years ago.
Physicists gathered together back in the 60s to figure out whether mass could be manifest where mass had never yet been. One of these scientists named Peter Higgs conceived of a field at a boson so big that now 50 years later they built a great rig to accelerate hadrons to see what has never been seen and find that Higgs boson particle mass from the vacuum of space. We're going to find the genuine article, no matter how much it takes. First, you spin up the hadrons and pull out the cork. It is there for a bit of a second, then forks into couples of photons or hadrons or quarks that are hard to examine with all of their wiggles and twists. It's hard to detect because it doesn't endure. In a blink, it is born. Then it's fully mature, and they think they're close, but they still aren't sure if the particle even exists. Let's find that Higgs boson particle mass from the vacuum of space. We're going to find the genuine article, no matter how much it takes. Nuclear photons like Higgs are a precious commodity. Nuclear physics is full of such oddities. Einstein himself even questioned of God, did he make things that run on equations, or does he roll dice? Well, they have to build an increasingly larger device. Let's find that Higgs boson particle mass from the vacuum of space. We're going to find the genuine article, no matter how long it takes. Boom, pep, boom, pep, boom. And I have the guitar accompaniment with it.
Okay, nice.
And it's and then I only missed about half the third verse. I missed about the first half of the third verse there. But those are good songs. Those are I have a bunch of songs that are real clever like that.
I had no idea.
Once the open mic starts, that'll give me an excuse to learn how to play my guitar again.
Sure. I remember the story about the accelerator and the looking for that particle, but I have no idea what you were saying there. That's above my pay grade.
They
I don't
found
do
it. They
science
found
like.
it. But yes, pretty much all the scientific statements I make are vaguely true. I have another one about the Big Bang, the creation of the universe. It's like that. It makes these long rhymes about how the stars make elements and form pockets of gas and whatever. Big Bang blow. Stories of nature. All right, I'm getting almost drunk enough to bore you to death. Should we get back to anime? What do you think about anime? That's like Japanese cartoons, right? I think I heard of it once.
A toy said Backo got to see himself in 4K. One day, I'm thinking I'm working on something. It's a lot of money, so but maybe camera related.
Yeah, of course, YouTube is screwing me on the viewer count again. I think
I tell you, it's hard. I used to program, and I mean, the whole definition of what it means to be connected to a chat room is kind of hard to define. You can look at a signal you got from somewhere 3 minutes ago, and you say, well, is he really in the room or not? Or from a programming standpoint, I have a lot of sympathy with the counter being not quite exact right to the plug, because it's not well defined what it means for computers to be connected.
Yeah, but it's only been more recently that this has been a problem. Only maybe the last few weeks to a month that this has been a problem, because it was usually because it's telling me now that there are only 2 people watching, but I know I think there's what, 5 or 6 of us here.
Right now, I don't know. I mean, my phone has resolved the YouTube thing to a non-active running process. Probably I'm not showing.
Yeah.
Because my chat room is in another phone window, and I'm not running it. If I were, I guess I could go to the computer and start that up and hotspot it to that, and then I'd be on. Then you'd have 3.
Yeah, I have 3 now, and
you
according
more,
to
Mike.
YouTube, anyway.
These single-digit counts. I don't know. In the long run, you're gonna. I don't know. You're not growing. I don't know what it's gonna take. I don't have a plan.
But I noticed that on Leto's channel too. That we know that
Yeah,
more people are in there, and it's showing too. When we know there's 5 of us in there.
yeah, I saw that the other day too when I was on there. Yeah,
but like I say, I'm probably not even showing because I'm just on StreamYards and my other window is just somewhere an non-running process in my phone. It's probably timed out.
No, toys. Incorrect. That is not enough.
What?
I'm sorry, but I've got a Canon Vixia right now. I'm not talking about a webcam. I'm talking about a real video camera that I'm going to spend a lot of money on. I want to step up my video making game, and I have all this expensive equipment. I have good editing equipment, good computer for it, and I realized a while back, I'm like, why do I keep doing this with this piece of crap camera, the Canon Vixia that I have right now? That's HF82. So I looked at it. I'm like, okay, what's the top of the line for this? And I'm like, that might be good for my kids if they get into it, which they might. But the one I'm looking at is like a studio. It's like home studio-ish. It's that good. It's going to be 4K and all this stuff. And I plan on making movies with it. But it costs a lot of money. So I just haven't pulled the trigger on doing it yet. And then, of course, I would take that, obviously, and set that up next to the computer and then film myself that way.
Yeah. So kind of let you guys know, tomorrow night, of course, we'll be looking at comics from July of 1937. I was just thinking of I wasn't sure if I was going to make this announcement tomorrow night, or since we're all kind of here anyways, I could make it tonight. So to give everybody a little bit of a heads up on what's going on with the with the comics, historical review bit, and based on some stuff that Backo and I have been talking about too. So tomorrow night, when we do July of 1937, that's going to be the last generalized format that we'll be doing. What I mean by generalized format, where we just take the month and we just do all the milestone issues in that. Okay. Next week, when we do August of 1937, I didn't find it, when I looked ahead, I didn't find any milestone issues. So what we will be doing next week, not tomorrow night, but next week, when we do August of 1937, I'll be doing a special Siegel Schuster marathon in which I'll be reading stories from that month's Detective Comics, More Fun, and New Adventures, in which I'll be reading Slam Bradley,
Woo, Slam,
Federal Men with Steve Carson, Radio Squad, and Dr. Colt. All these guys were from Siegel Schuster.
Yeah, we remember Dr. Occult.
Yeah. Then 2 weeks from tomorrow night, when we get into September, I'll be starting to do more specific. In other words, so instead of just simply saying that we'll be covering comics from like as we do for tomorrow night and what we've been doing, like July of 37, it'll be saying, when you look in the description, it will say we'll be looking at comics that went on sale in or in September of. We'll start off like with DC. Like the first week will be like we'll be focusing on the DC comics, and then we might be focusing on other like quality comics and down the road there. So just giving you guys a heads up, we're gonna start doing more specific. We're going to be focusing more on specific features, because what I'm going to be doing now is it's going to be a bit more than just simply looking at word usage. We're going to actually look more at world building and seeing how these universes came to be. So we'll be looking at that, along with what we've been doing, like the social commentary and the word, language usage and all that. So we'll be getting more into the depth of it. We'll be looking at the publishing history and, how they would publish the books. We'll be looking a little bit more at like how they went from anthologies to features more and more. So that's what you guys have to look forward to on Friday nights now as we look at comics history. So I figured I'd give you guys a heads up. I was initially going to announce that tomorrow night. I figured since we're all here in kind of a open forum, free forum tonight, I think I might as well just bring that up now. So
sounds good.
Yeah, Backo, did you want to say anything more on that? Because I know you said you were excited about that idea. Did you want about going in the more specific format where we're going to do like more of the world building? We're going to be looking more at the world building.
Yeah, like you said, you're going to start out with Siegel and Schuster. You're going to go and then continue on from there.
Okay. Okay. So I'll repeat it so everybody understands. Tomorrow night we're going to be doing July 1937. We're going to be doing it like we've been doing it, kind of a more of a generalized format. Okay, we're going to be doing July 1937. We're going to be doing it like we've been doing, kind of. Okay, did somebody just turn off their YouTube feed or something? Or turn on their
I'm connecting to YouTube right now. Yeah, I just turned off my sound here. So I just got there.
And I'm in the kitchen, Mike. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, and I can hear you too. I just turned my camera off, so just walking around.
Okay. Yeah, so basically,
I can chat with you.
So tomorrow is going to be the last of the more generalized format. That will in our historical comic review coverage, and then next week, when we do August of 1937, I'm going to be focusing on Siegel Schuster. I know everybody likes Slam Bradley, and I figured, and since there was no milestone issues to cover, that kind of could be a segue into doing the more specific format.
Sure.
So, and then 2 weeks from today, when we get to September of 1937, that's when you'll start. We'll the first week, of course, the first week we'll focus on DC a little bit. If they got some issues, and then it'll each week you'll see it in the description. I mean, if you guys read the description at all, you see on Friday nights I usually say Backgo tonight will be covering comics that went on sale in whatever month in July of 37. That will be adjusted to say we'll be covering comics that went on sale in July of 37 from like DC Comics or Quality Comics or what have you. So that's where we're going with it. And it looks like we have some comments that just came in, so let's go ahead and look through those real quick. Oh yeah, we already saw that. Sweet news, PT. What happened to Dave Marks? From what I understand, Dave Marks has been boycotting YouTube over the censorship issues.
I think Toys was that you, or did Leto tell us that he's laying low? Yeah, he's going off YouTube.
Yeah,
which is a bummer. We miss him.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going? Just got home, going to grab a bite to eat. Yeah, tonight's been kind of a free form night. At Anon, so we've been kind of
what up, Anon?
Haha, yes. I did have a few TMBG albums, very clever, funny songs.
What's TMBG?
Anon.
What is TMBG?
They might be giants.
Oh, Leto even wrote that down before.
That was what Leto was referring to earlier.
Yeah. No, I just tuned into the chat and I was just kind of launching off. Say, I'm here in chat now. All right.
Anon.
Oh, everybody's here. All right.
Minecrafter Boy is gone too. Yeah, we haven't seen him around in a while.
Why don't I see him?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's on mines now, making money. Huh.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. I just figured I'd let you guys know that I was actually initially thinking of making that announcement tomorrow night, but I figured since we're all here in kind of a free form, might as well do it now just to give you heads up. So yeah.
Sounds good. Was Backgoat still going to be our guest host on Friday though?
Yeah. Well, as far as I know, I mean, he's definitely still co-host if he wants to continue. I'm sure he does, from what I understand.
If you'll have me, yeah, I got no problem with that.
Yeah, okay. Then it's potato. I mean, I don't think there's no issue with that.
Got the new Spudco Industry headphones. So yeah.
Backgoat has been a very good co-host in terms of and even when we talked before and after the streams, on stuff, especially when we like controversial stuff like last week. Now, and I wasn't going to say anything more about like last week because I know everybody had a little bit of a cringe aspect to it, but I hope you guys all understood what I was trying to do there. The point is we shouldn't shy away from something just because it's cringe. There is some significant historical significance to it. Now, again, I'm not gonna do those stories anymore. I'm not gonna do the minstrel stories anymore. Backgo and I talked about that because as long as everybody understands what I was doing, I don't need to do those stories anymore.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So.
Edie, no.
Too hot.
Were
you yelling at the kitty?
Baza Logic left as quickly as he came.
Did, so. The cat just said, "No, just hold the door open while the moths fly in your house. I'm still thinking."
Cats. Cats are good.
Well, we're coming up on an hour and a half now, guys. So. Anon did an emoji, and Leto said yes.
Hour and a half? Boy, time flies. Huh.
Yeah. Well, you guys came in a little later than obviously I started on time. You guys came in and joined me later, so, and I thank you guys for that, because but yeah, and again, as you guys know too, with a lot of times on my news coverage, I cover more general releases, sales stuff, that kind of thing. Some profile pieces, but I usually won't cover like current content stuff. Yep.
Frisia First Form is saying, "What's up?" I don't know how he.
And look at it. So. And Woody and Batgoat, of course, are helping to promote ATC.
Hey, dog on camera here.
What's the pupper's name? What's the pupper's name?
Mr. Grizzle.
What?
Mr. Grizzle. Mr. Grizzle.
Mr. Grizzle?
He looked like a little grizzly bear when he was a puppy. So.
Hi, pupper. Hey, bud.
Sometimes I call him Mr. Griswold, like Clark Griswold.
Hey, buddy.
He's a good dog.
He's a good boy.
He's probably thinking, man, what is my master doing? Who are these people? Who are these crazy people that I'm being forced to look at?
He's a smart dog. He gets to run around and outdoors pretty much, fence free out here in the county. The neighbors don't really complain about each other's dogs as long as they're reasonably well.
And he's big enough to take care of himself.
Yeah, he's run off some coyotes and stuff.
Is that right? Good for him.
Keeps the cats safe, because there aren't any foxes or coyotes, so the cats can live out in the woods here too.
We had cats in Santa Monica, California. You'd think they'd be safe. The freaking owls came down. We had big pine trees there in Santa Monica, and the owls came down. Got one of our really beautiful ragdoll cats. Just left a little splotch of fur. My mom was.
That's sad.
And I
got buzzards. We got turkey buzzards that nest near here, and the neat thing about them is they don't bug cats at all. If it ain't dead, they're not interested in bothering.
Is that right?
They don't. They don't need to bother killing anything. They find lots of things already dead. I guess.
Yeah. Actually, one of the things I've noticed too, because when I've been getting up in the morning, I've been starting to watch some of Tug and Yellow Flash. Granted, with Tug, it still is predominantly Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, but he's been actually doing other videos too, more of late.
I see that. I've been watching the other videos he's been doing. It seems to be maybe coming around here.
Yeah. I hope we can get him, to come in and hang out, on Friday nights when we're like going over the comic history, because I really think he'd enjoy it. But I know all I can really do is just continue to invite him and hope he does decide one night to just pop in, Yeah, I mean, because I think what we're overall doing, I think it's a good thing we're doing back though when doing the comics history review, because I think a lot of people, when you look, there are now when I did this for myself with DC, I found there were a lot of interesting little tidbits that I found out a little bit more about like the Comics Code Authority because of that, and found out some of the reasons why they were trying to bring it about. I mean, and some of the stuff is pretty incredible too. Like some of the original Wonder Woman stuff I told you guys about Marston's being a bondage fetishist and having a wife and a mistress, and
that's what the lasso, yeah. And
then I recently once again talked a little bit about the whole what they were believing about Batman and Robin too in the Golden Age, because I think when we were talking about Kate Kane last night, I don't know, neither one of you were here, but we started talking a little bit about Kate Kane, the modern version of Kate Kane, and I went back and talked a little bit about the history of Kathy Kane, the first Batwoman back in the 50s. that she and her niece Betty King were actually brought in to serve as romantic interest for Bruce and Dick. Because due in part to seduction of innocence and the suggestion that Bruce and Dick were involved in a you know homosexual relationship. So
Youthful Ward. Yeah. Wow. Those were the days. Well, I don't know. It just wasn't that much media back then. When I was a kid, that Adam West show, that was the only Batman I ever heard of for
yeah,
years and
and
years and years.
he was based more on the Silver Age version, but I can tell you this from a fact that some of the characterizations between the Golden Age and Silver Age, were different. Like, for example, with Superman. Now, everybody knows that Superman, at least most people believe that he's always been able to fly. He's always had full flight.
So for me, Superman is George Reeves, the George Reeves Superman black and white show. That's the only thing I ever thought of as Superman for years and years and years before I ever saw it.
Well, initially in the comics, the Golden Age Superman, he didn't have full flight. What it was is that he could leap an eighth of a mile. That's what he could do. He could leap. Eventually, he developed full flight in the on Earth too.
Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, there's a good question from Anon, and it's right up my alley. I like knowing, not that, even though you can say,
I'm going. Ouch. It hurts my heart.
Oh, what is the Silver Age and Golden Age? All right, yeah, I should probably. Yeah. I'll explain.
Just to do a quick summary on that. Yeah, that's
okay. So I'll try to make this as succinct as possible, but still with enough. Okay, so as you guys know, comics started all the way back in the 30s. We've been going through them quite a bit here. Okay, that's the golden from, let's say, the 30s up to the mid 50s was the golden age. From like the mid 50s to the 80s was the Silver Age. It talks about certain time periods in terms of how the comics came about. Okay, so the golden age of comics, where the characters were, so in the 50s, by the 50s. Okay, hold on. Let me think. I'm sorry, I got to reorganize my thoughts here a little bit.
Well, I guess that show I was watching in the 60s was actually taped in the 50s.
Yeah, the black and white Superman, it was originally in the 50s. Okay, so.
Or I say taped. It was filmed in the 50s. So.
Right. Okay, so what would happen in the 50s was originally a number of the main characters, they all eventually had their own features, and then eventually it got to the point where many of the Golden Age characters, the Golden Age Flash, Jay Garrick, the Golden Age, and I'm talking more specifically about DC because that's the area I know, DC Comics. Okay, so most people when they hear Flash or Green Lantern or Hawkman or Atom, most people will think of Barry Allen Flash, Hal Jordan as Green Lantern, Ray Palmer as the Atom, but they had what they would call Earth 2 counterparts. They had like a Green Flash, Green Lantern, Hawkman, and Atom in the Golden Age as well, but they were like completely different characters. Well, by the end of as the 40s were winding down and the 50s were starting up, superhero comics were starting to kind of like die down a little bit. The only character in DC, there were only like 5 characters that continued running through the 50s into the 60s. Those were Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Green Lantern. Those 5 characters just continuously ran throughout the 50s into the 60s. But what you'd have, but It started in about 53, I believe, and then you started seeing more and more of it, where they were making the transition from what we would know as Golden Age or Earth 2 to Earth 1, which is the Earth 1, Silver Age Earth is what most people know. Most of the
Okay,
television and cartoon shows that most
hang on 1 second. Hang on 1 second. Can you just back up real quick and like go super simple summary?
Which Earth are we on?
Give me the years. Just give me the years, if you can, between Golden and Silver.
Okay,
which is first?
The transition between Golden and okay. So official, what many people cite as the official start of the Silver Age of DC Comics. I don't know if this is the same with everybody, but in DC continuity, the official start of the Silver Age came in, I believe it was December of 55 during Martian Manhunter's debut appearance in Detective Comics. Okay.
So Golden Age starts it. Silver Age is what we kind of blend into, and then it starts to get a little bit more complicated as one's the difference between Earth 1 and one's the difference between Earth 2 and multi-universes. Am I kind of correct on that?
Yeah. Okay. Because
did that help you, Anon? I think I want to try to clarify this for Anon on like the simplest terms we can.
Yeah, I mean it because again you're dealing with a multiverse here, and there is a lot of minutia. But part of the reason why we got the DC multiverse at least is because there were like basically as they were making the transition from the Golden Age to the Silver Age. As I told you, one of the big problems was you had 5 characters there that just continuously ran throughout the 50s, whereas the rest of the characters, there was a stopping point. Like some of those other characters like Flash, Green Lantern, Hawkman, their stories stopped for like 10, 15 years. And then started up again, but they had to start up with completely new characters.
Okay.
So, and to kind of help differentiate between not just the characters, and stuff, also, even within the stories of Superman, Batman, those stories those characters that continued on to the 50s. Actually, the first major acknowledgement of the multiverse happened in, I believe it was Flash, Volume 1, Issue 123 of Flash of Two Worlds, in which you saw the Flash of Earth 1, Barry Allen, find his way to Earth 2 and end up teaming up with Jay Garrick. Okay. Obviously, when we get to these points, when we start talking about as we get more in depth into the world building, we'll be talking a lot about this stuff, particularly DC. Now, I know my main knowledge base is more with DC, and of course the companies that DC bought up like Quality Comics, Fawcett Comics. That's where more my knowledge base is from. So when we start talking about Marvel, like I'll be learning along with you guys about how their universe built.
Okay, but Anon's got a follow-up question there too.
Let's see. Golden Age.
We covered that.
All right. Yeah, makes sense.
Here's the question.
So would the 2010 to 2020 would be the age of absolute?
I think that's great, Anon.
Okay. Okay. So
I agree.
Okay. So in 1985. Okay. In 1985.
Shira lost her breasts.
In 1985, DC did a comic event called The Crisis on Infinite Earths. It lasted for a couple 85, 86 into early 87. Okay. What this was meant to do was to clean up all the continuity issues from all the different stories, because by that point it wasn't just Earth 1 and Earth 2 anymore. There was like there was a number of different Earths, including Earth 3, which was kind of the analog to Earth 1. I mean, I'm not going to try to explain all the different. We'll get to that at some later point, obviously, when we get there. But basically, you had thousands. I mean, thousands of different Earths, different incarnations of the Justice League, of their rogues. I mean, in fact, even the teams. Okay, so most people know the Justice League. That was a Silver Age or Earth 1 superhero team up. On Earth 2, they were called the Justice Society. So just to give you an example. So we got to Crisis on Infinite Earths, which basically combined all the Earths into one, which gave us post-Crisis. And you had kind of mini events that kind of altered the timeline a bit, like I can't even remember. And then we got to some more Crisis in the early 2000s. There was Identity Crisis and Infinite Crisis was another like continuity cleanup issue, and then there was Final Crisis. I think Infinite Crisis I think happened in 2011, which was around the time that, and I've told Backgoat this. I haven't told, but 2011 was the year that the majority, almost all of the comic book companies stopped using the CCA, the Comics Code Authority, was in 2011. So Infinite Crisis was used to kind of usher that area. And then in 2016, if I can remember correctly, 2016 was when they had Final Crisis, which of course involved Darkseid finally getting the anti-life equation, and then they rebooted again. So after Crisis on Infinite Earths, there was a reboot. After Infinite Crisis, there was a bit of a reboot. And then there was, of course, another reboot after 2016, after Final Crisis, and I believe it was 2016 to present that you call, what was it you called it? The age of absolute shit.
Age of poo.
Yeah. So
to me, comic books just kind of lost me with all that grouping stuff. I could kind of imagine a world with Superman, and I could imagine a world with Batman, but I could never imagine a world where Superman and Batman were peers, because Superman would entirely annihilate Batman with one punch, and I couldn't get past that and watch any adventures where they would team up, because
as a kid, I felt the same way. I'm like, they're all separate, and bringing them together just never felt right to me either.
It never worked. Yeah.
Are you talking about like Superman, Batman just partnering up between themselves? Or are you talking about like when they would be part of a superhero team like Justice League or Justice Society?
I'm saying,
those whole concepts just always lost me cold. I never bought any of those comics.
Well, we'll be studying some of that as we get there. It's just we're still in the infancy.
I'm not a normal person, though. I've learned that in years since, So,
but I'm with you on that, Woody.
You're going to go out of business.
So, Mike, do you got history for tonight?
Oh yeah, we're at an hour and 48.
Yeah,
you might want to wrap her up.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But let's first get through these comments.
Okay.
Make sure we didn't. Did anyone hear the bubbling and coughing a few minutes ago? That was. I should have let you read that. That was your comment. Action Toys. Anyone remember the time Adam?
If I'm gonna have a smoker's hack just from 420, I'm gonna work at it, baby.
All right. Okay. Action Toys says, anyone remember the time Adam West and Frank Gorshin got kicked out of an orgy because they were they were using their on-screen personas? Okay, in case anybody doesn't know what Backgoat's what Action Toys is talking about there, Adam West, of course, was Batman in the series that Woody referenced earlier, the 66 considered campy series. Frank Gorshin was the guy who portrayed the Riddler in the 66 Batman series. And it's kind of ironic because they both did some voice work too later on in the DC universe. Adam West replaced Olan Soul in the Super Friends legendary superpower show. Adam West replaced Olan Soul as the voice of Batman, and Frank Gorshin would later on become Dr. Hugo Strange in The Batman in 2005. So, anyways, let me get through the rest of these comments so we can get to history and wrap this up because we are getting action toys. What? Batman and the Riddler role playing to scantily clad ladies. I'm sorry. I should let you read that, Woody. That was you. Okay. Yeah.
This damn pal Batman, he says. Yes.
Yeah. The only team.
Batman.
Well, if you've noticed that's the base I use for Batgoat's theme.
Yes.
The only team I always messed with was on Saturday mornings. They were heroes known as the X-Men. Yeah, that was the early 90s. They came out in 92. They were done up in Canada.
Yeah. Well, all the X-Men came from a similar history, so you could have multiple. That was a way to have multiple ones that worked. You're right.
Oh yeah.
But they all had the same origin story, kind of. So that's it worked.
Yeah. The Bam Pow Batman. Yeah, the Bam Pow Batman. That's the 1966 one.
The Fantastic Four, actually, that was a favorite of mine. Yeah. But history. Well, just goat outed.
Just goat outed, and I am Batgoat.
Just got outed. I say yes. Goat outed, got outed.
Uno mas rip. One more rip. Okay. Smoky smoke. Okay.
Oh, so, it was good. It was good.
Batgoat's gone off.
With it, Batgoat, or okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, now that I got through and then
feeling groovy.
Toy says laugh out loud. Okay. So now that we are in hour 52, so I do have a couple pieces of history tonight.
History time. Woo!
So without no further ado, today being April the 8th, 2021, let's take a look back at this day in niche history. And the two things I was able to pick out for tonight are more recent stuff. But without no further ado, let's get started. So first off, we just head back 6 years ago to 2015. As on this date in 2015, the 45th and I believe final issue of the third volume of Deadpool went on sale on this date 6 years ago for $8.99. It was a 96-page book and had a bunch of stories. So this is probably a bit more of an anthology. A couple with Deadpool as a feature. So on this date, 6 years ago today, the 45th issue of the third volume of Deadpool went on sale for Marvel. So that is that. And now one more piece of niche history. One more piece of niche history here. Get through. On this date in the year 2016, 5 years ago today, the following anime premiered on this date 5 years ago today in 2016. 8-bit shonen made. Wit Studios, Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress, and Studio Dean's Haven't You Heard? I'm Sakamoto. So those are the three animes that debuted on this date 5 years ago in 2016. So anyways, guys, I thank you all for being here. I hope everybody had fun with this open forum tonight.
I did. Cheers.
More of a lax stream tonight. Not covering as much news. There, wasn't as much going on, so I figured it might be a nice night to do open forum.
I was having kind of a blasé day, and this picked me up. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely, me too.
Yeah,
feeling better.
Batgoat. I'll I'll email you the tomorrow night StreamYard link to where, if you can get in a little early so we can
I'll
prep
pop in
and stuff
early.
like that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep,
and
no problem.
I've already made the announcement I was thinking of making for tomorrow in terms of where where we're going to go in the future.
Okay.
So
see you guys later. See you. What do you see, Mike?
yeah, all right. Talk to y'all later.
All right. Good night.
I'll see everybody tomorrow night. All right, Woody.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right. See everybody tomorrow night. I look forward to checking out July of 1937. All right. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.